The journey begins in the deep north, where the air is crisp and smells of pine needles and damp earth, at the very source of the great river Lake Itasca in Minnesota, where the water is clear and cold and still. You are sitting in a small wooden boat that floats gently on the glass-like surface of the water, bobbing ever so slightly with the rhythm of the tiny ripples that lap against the hull. It is early morning, and the mist is rising off the water, creating a soft white veil that obscures the shoreline, turning the towering pine trees into dark, ghostly shapes that stand guard over the birth of the river. The silence here is profound and ancient, a silence that feels like it has existed since the glaciers retreated thousands of years ago, leaving behind this landscape of lakes and forests. You dip your hand into the water, and it is cool and refreshing, sending a shiver of wakefulness through your arm that quickly fades back into relaxation. You push off from the shore with a gentle shove of the oar, and the boat glides silently out towards the center of the lake, where the water is deeper and the reflection of the sky is perfect and unbroken. You are embarking on a long, slow journey down the spine of the continent, following the path of the water as it flows south towards a sea, a journey of thousands of miles measured in inches of drift. The boat moves effortlessly, carried by the subtle current that pulls toward the outlet, where the lake spills over a tumble of rocks to become the infant Mississippi River. You watch the water flow over the stones, clear and bright, sparkling in the morning sun that is just beginning to burn through the mist. The sound of the water is a gentle, musical, tinkling, a sound of happy beginnings that invites you to close your eyes and listen. You drift over the rocks, the boat scraping lightly against a smooth stone before finding the channel and slipping into the narrow stream that winds through the tall grasses and the cattails. The river here is narrow enough to jump across a humble beginning for such a mighty force of nature, but you are in no hurry, and neither is a river. It meanders slowly through the forest, twisting and turning back on itself as if it is reluctant to leave this peaceful place. You see a great blue heron standing motionless in the shallows, its long neck curved in an S shape, its eyes watching the water with intense focus, waiting for a fish to swim by. It does not move as you drift past. It is a statue of patience, a lesson in stillness. You feel a sense of kinship with the bird, a shared understanding that there is no need to rush, that everything comes in its own time. The sun climbs higher in the sky, warming the air and bringing out the scent of the wildflowers that grow along the banks, purple and yellow and white dots of color in the sea of green. You smell the wild rice growing in the marshy areas, a nutty, earthy aroma that is distinct and comforting. The boat drifts under the branches of a willow tree that hangs low over the water, its leaves brushing against your face like soft green fingers, a gentle caress from the forest. You lie back in the boat, looking up at the sky through the canopy of leaves, watching the patterns of light and shadow shift as the wind rustles the branches. It is a hypnotic display of nature, a kaleidoscope of green and gold that tires your eyes in the most pleasant way. The river widens slightly as it collects water from other small streams and creeks, growing stronger and deeper with every mile, but the pace remains slow and steady, a lazy current that carries you without effort. You pass through stands of birch trees, their white bark peeling in curls, their leaves fluttering in the breeze like thousands of tiny green flags. You see a family of ducks swimming in a line behind their mother, bobbing in the wake of your boat, unbothered by your presence. You are part of the river, now part of the flow, part of the natural world. The sounds of civilization are far away, replaced by the sounds of the wild, the call of a loon echoing across a distant lake, the splash of a beaver's tail hitting the water, the rustle of a deer moving through the underbrush. It is a symphony, a piece of soundtrack for relaxation. The afternoon sun is warm on your face, a gentle weight that presses you down into the bottom of the boat, where you have made a comfortable nest of blankets and pillows. You feel the gentle rocking of the boat, a soothing rhythm that mimics the beating of your own heart. Rock, 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 rock. It is a lullaby sung by the water. You let your hand trail in the river, feeling the cool water rush through your fingers, a physical connection to the journey. You are traveling through time as well as space, moving through a landscape that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. You imagine the Native Americans who traveled this river in birch bark canoes, silent and swift, respecting the spirit of the water. You imagine the fur traders and the explorers who followed in their wake, seeking fortune and adventure in the wilderness. You are following their footsteps, but your journey is one of peace, one of rest. The sun begins to dip towards the horizon, casting long shadows across the river, turning the water from blue to gold to a deep, rich purple. The air cools slightly and the sound of the day begin to fade, replaced by the sounds of the evening. The crickets begin their chirping, a rhythmic pulsing sound that fills the air. The frogs begin their chorus, a deep croaking that resonates from the marsh. You watch the fireflies begin to blink in the shadows, tiny sparks of light that dance in the darkness. It is a magical time, a time of transition between the waking world and the world of dreams. You drift past a small island in the middle of the river, a sanctuary of trees and rocks where you could stop if you wanted to, but you do not want to stop. You want to keep moving, keep drifting, keep flowing. The river is your guide, the river is your bed, the river is your home. You close your eyes and let the sound of the night wash over you. You hear the hoot of an owl from a tall pine tree, a lonely, haunting sound that speaks of the mysteries of the forest. You hear the splash of a fish jumping for a fly, a sudden break in the silence that only emphasizes the quiet. You feel the boat turning slowly and the current spinning gently as it navigates a bend in the river. It is a comforting sensation, a feeling of being held and supported by something larger than yourself. You are safe here. You are protected here. The river widens as it enters a region of lakes, the current slowing even more until it feels like you are hardly moving at all. The water is smooth and black, reflecting the stars that have appeared in the sky above. You look up and see the Milky Way stretching across the heavens, a river of light that mirrors the river of water below. You feel small but not insignificant. You feel connected to the universe, connected to the stars, connected to the water. You drift through the night, moving silently through the sleeping landscape. You pass small cabins tucked away in the woods, their windows dark, their inhabitants asleep. You send them a silent blessing, wishing them peaceful dreams as you continue on your way. The moon rises over the treetops, a large yellow orb that casts a pale light on the water, creating a path of silver that stretches out ahead of you. You follow the path of light, your boat gliding effortlessly along the shimmering surface. You feel a deep sense of gratitude for this journey, for this moment of perfect peace. You are not worried about where you are going or when you will get there. You are simply here, simply now, simply drifting. The night deepens and the air grows cooler, but you are warm under your blankets, cocooned in your little boat. The rhythm of the water is a constant companion, a steady heartbeat that lulls you deeper and deeper into relaxation. You feel your breathing slow down, matching the slow pulse of the river. In, out, in, out. You are becoming one with the water, one with the flow, one with the night. The river carries you south, leaving the deep north behind, moving towards a heartland. You drift past fields of wild rice that whisper in the wind. You drift past dense forests of maple and oak. You drift past rocky bluffs that rise up from the water's edge. It is a changing landscape, but the feeling remains the same. The feeling of peace, the feeling of drift, The feeling of sleep. The sun rises again, bringing a new day, but you do not wake fully. You stay in that delicious state of half-sleep, where the world is soft and fuzzy. You watch the mist rise off the water again, a replay of the morning before, but different in its details. The light is different, the birds are different, the air is different, but the river is the same. The river is always the same. It is a constant presence, a reliable friend. You drift through the day, watching the clouds float across the sky, white fluffy shapes that look like sheep grazing in a blue field. You watch the dragonflies buzzing around the boat, their iridescent wings flashing in the sunlight. You watch a turtle sunning itself on a log, slipping into the water with a soft plop as you pass. It is a slow motion world, a world where nothing happens quickly and nothing needs to happen quickly. You eat a simple meal of bread and cheese and apples, savoring the flavors in the fresh air. You drink cool water from a canteen, feeling it hydrate your body. You are simple, you are content, you are at peace. The river grows wider and deeper as it flows south, joined by the Crow-Wing River and the Sauk River, gaining strength and volume. The current picks up slightly, carrying you along at a steady walking pace. You pass through the city of St. Cloud, where the river runs through granite beds of water swirling around massive gray rocks that have stood the test of time. You see people fishing from the banks, waving as you pass. You wave back a slow, lazy wave that says hello and goodbye in the same motion. You drift past the old stone bridges that span the river, their arches reflecting in the water, creating perfect circles of stone and light. You drift past parks where children are playing, their laughter floating out over the water like music. It is a glimpse of civilization, but you are still separate from it, separated by the water, separated by the drift. You continue south towards Minneapolis, where the river encounters the Falls of St. Anthony, the only natural waterfall on the entire Mississippi. You ported your boat around the falls, a slow and deliberate process of carrying your vessel past the roaring water. You stop to admire the power of the falls, of white water crashing down over the limestone ledge, the mist rising up into the air. It is a reminder of the raw power of the river, the energy that drives it forward. You launch your boat again below the falls, where the river enters a deep gorge with high white sandstone cliffs rising on both sides. You drift under the towering bridges that connect the twin cities, looking up at the cars passing high above silent specks in the sky. You are in the city, but you are not of the city. You are in the wild heart of the metropolis, a secret highway of water that flows through the concrete and steel. You see the University of Minnesota campus passing by, the students walking along the river banks, reading books and talking. You feel a sense of history here, knowing that this river has been a center of trade and commerce and learning for centuries. You drift past the old flour mills that used to grind the wheat of the plains, powered by the river. They stand now as monuments to the past, silent brick giants that watch the water flow. You leave the city behind and enter the widening river valley, where the bluffs rise high and green on either side. This is the driftless area, a unique geological region that was missed by the glaciers, leaving the ancient topography intact. The hills are steep and rugged, covered in hardwood forests that turn brilliant colors in autumn. You imagine the colors, now the reds and oranges and yellows of the maples, and oaks, a fire of leaves burning on the hillsides. You drift past Lake Pepin, a natural widening of the river caused by the delta of the Chippewa River flowing in from Wisconsin. The lake is wide and blue, a favorite spot for sailors and water skiers, but you stick to the edge, drifting slowly, watching the sailboats tack back and forth in the wind. You see the eagles soaring on the thermals high above the bluff, their white heads gleaming in the sun. This is eagle country, one of the best places in the world. to see these majestic birds. You watch one dive toward the water, its talons extended, hitting the surface with a splash, and rising again with silver fish in its grip. It is a moment of drama in the slow-moving day. You continue south past Winona and lie across the river, forming the border between Minnesota and Wisconsin. You pass through the lock and dam system, a series of stair steps that lower the river gently towards the sea. You enter a locked and massive steel gates, closing behind you, shutting out the world. You hold onto the rope as the water level drops slowly, steadily, lowering you down, down, down. The walls of the lock are wet and covered in moss, smelling of damp concrete and algae. The front gates open, revealing the river stretching out ahead of you, a new level, a new section of the journey. You push off from the wall and drift out into the open water, feeling the current take you once again. You pass the mouth of the Wisconsin River, where Father Marquette and Louis Joliet first entered the Mississippi in 1673. You imagine their awe at seeing this great river flowing south into the unknown. You share their sense of wonder, their sense of discovery. You drift past ancient effigy mounds built by the Native Americans on the high bluff shaped like bears and birds and lizards. They are sacred places, places of burial and ceremony, watching over the river for 1,000 years. You feel the weight of history, the presence of the ancestors. The river widens even more as it flows past Iowa and Illinois. The bluffs begin to recede, replaced by rolling hills and fertile farmland. You see fields of corn and soybeans stretching to horizon, a patchwork quilt of green and gold. You see grain silos standing like cathedrals on the plains. You see tugboats pushing long strings of barges up and down the river, moving the harvest of the heartland of the world. You give the barges a wide berth, respecting their size and power. You watch the wake of the towboat, washing against the shore, rocking your boat gently. It is a reminder that this river is a working river, a highway of commerce. But there's still plenty of room for you, plenty of quiet stretches where you can be alone. You drift past the historic town of Hannibal, Missouri, the boyhood home of Mark Twain. You imagine young Sam Clemens playing on these banks, watching the steamboats arrive, dreaming of becoming a riverboat pilot. You feel the spirit of Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn in the air, the spirit of adventure and freedom. You see the white picket fences and the old brick buildings, a town frozen in time. You drift past Jackson's Island, where Huck and Jim it out, beginning their own journey down the river. You feel a connection to the literary history of the river, a connection to the stories that have been told about it. The river is a story itself, a long, winding narrative that never ends. You drift past St. Louis, where the Missouri River, the Big Muddy, joins the Mississippi. You see the two rivers mixing, the clear water of the Mississippi swirling with the brown, silt-laden water of the Missouri, creating a distinct line that eventually blurs and disappears. The river is massive, now a true giant, powerful and wide. You see the Gateway Arch rising above the city, a gleaming stainless steel curve that reflects the sun. It marks the gateway to the west, the starting point for the pioneers who crossed the plains in cover wagons. You drift under the Eads Bridge, an engineering marvel of its time, the first steel bridge to cross the Mississippi. You look up at the intricate lattice work of the steel, admiring the craftsmanship. You leave the city behind and enter the lower Mississippi, the alluvial valley, where the river winds in great loops and bends through the flat landscape. The levees rise up on both sides, high earthen walls that protect the land from flooding. You cannot see over them, so your world becomes a river and the sky, and the trees that grow on the bed of the land between the river and the levee. It is a secluded world of private corridor of water. You drift past Cairo, Illinois, where the Ohio River joins the Mississippi, adding even more water to flow. The river is now a mile wide and places a vast expanse of water that moves with a deceptive speed. The current is strong here, swirling and boiling, creating eddies and whirlpools that you navigate with care. But the boat handles them while bobbing like a cork. You are deep in the south now, where the air is warmer and more humid. You smell the scent of magnolias and honeysuckle hanging heavy in the air. You hear the cicadas buzzing the trees, a loud electric sound that rises and falls in intensity. You see the Spanish moss hanging from the cypress trees, gray beards that sway in the breeze. It is a Gothic landscape, beautiful and slightly mysterious. You drift past Memphis, Tennessee, the home of the blues. You hear the faint strains of music, drifting over the water, a guitar riff, a soulful voice. You imagine the cotton fields and the Delta bluesmen sitting on their porches, playing their sorrows away. You feel the rhythm of the blues and the rhythm of the river, a slow, melancholic beat that speaks to the soul. You drift past the great oxbow lakes formed when the river changed its course, leaving behind curved bodies of water that are now cut off from the main channel. There are quiet places filled with lotus flowers and lily pads home to alligators and egrets. You stay in the main channel, letting the current do the work. You drift past Vicksburg, Mississippi, the site of the famous Civil War siege. You see the cannon still standing on the bluffs, silent sentinels watching over the river. You think about the gunboats that ran the gauntlet under fire about the struggle for control of the river. It is a peaceful scene, now the conflict long overburied in history. The river flows on indifferent to the wars of men, healing the scars of the land. You drift past Natchez with its antebellum mansions, sitting high on the bluffs overlooking the river. You imagine the steamboats of the Golden Age, the floating palaces that carried cotton and passengers in luxury. You hear the call of the steam whistle echoing through time. You are approaching the end of the journey, now approaching the Delta country of Louisiana. The river is huge here, a slow-moving ocean of brown water. You pass the chemical plants and the refineries of the industrial corridor, their lights twinkling in the night like a futuristic city. It is a contrast to the wild beginnings of the river, but it is part of the story too. You pass Baton Rouge with its castle-like Capitol building standing on the riverbank. You smell the sweet scent of sugar cane burning. In the fields, a caramel aroma that fills the air. You drift past New Orleans, the Crescent City, lying low behind the levees. You hear the jazz music floating on the breeze, the sound of trumpets and trombones celebrating life. You feel the energy of the city, but you drift on past it towards the sea. The river begins to branch out into the distributaries of the Delta, splitting into smaller channels that wind through the marsh. You smell the salt air, now the scent of the Gulf of Mexico, mixing with the scent of the river. You see the pelicans diving for fish, their large pouches scooping up the water. You see the shrimp boats with their nets out trawling the shallow waters. You have reached the end of the line, the place where the river meets the sea. The water slows and spreads out, losing its definition, merging with the vast expanse of the ocean. You have traveled the length of the country, from the pine forests of the north to the cypress swamps of the south. You have seen the heart of America from the unique vantage point of the river. You are tired but happy, a deep, bone-deep weariness that promises a long and restful sleep. You pull your boat into a quiet inlet among the reeds, dropping your anchor into the soft mud. The boat swings gently into the current and settles. You lie back on your pillows, looking up at the vast southern sky filled with stars. You listen to the sound of the water lapping against the hull, a gentle rhythmic sound that has been your companion for weeks. Lap, 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 lap. It is the sound of completion, the sound of rest. You close your eyes and let the journey replay in your mind the clear water of Itasca, the high bluffs of the driftless area, the wide waters of the delta. It is all one river, all one flow, all one dream. You drift away into sleep, carried by the memory of the water, carried by the peace of the river. The journey continues as you leave the water behind and find yourself sitting in the driver's seat of a classic vintage car, a comfortable heavy steel cruiser with plush bench seats that feel like a sofa wrapped in soft leather. You are parked on a scenic overlook high above the Pacific Coast Highway in California, where the fog is rolling in from the ocean in thick white waves that blanket the cliffs below. The engine is idling with a low, steady rumble, a deep vibration that you can feel in the steering wheel, and the floorboards a sound of power and reliability. It is early evening, the time when the light turns silver and gray and the world loses its sharp edges. You look out the windshield and see the vast expanse of the Pacific Ocean disappearing into the mist, the sound of the waves crashing against the rocks far below reaching you as a rhythmic hush roar. Crashes, crashes. You put the car in gear and pull slowly out onto the road, the tires humming on the smooth asphalt as you begin your drive south along the winding coastline. The road curves and dips following the contours of the land, hugging the cliffs on one side and the ocean on the other. You are moving at a leisurely pace. There is no traffic tonight, just you and the road and the fog. The windshield wipers sweep back and forth with a hypnotic rhythm slap. Slap, 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 clearing the fine mist on the glass. You feel the steering wheel cool and smooth under your hands, guiding the heavy car effortlessly through the turns. You pass through pockets of dense fog where the world shrinks down to the patch of road illuminated by your yellow headlights. And then you emerge into clearer patches where you can see the dark silhouette of cypress trees twisted by the wind standing against the gray sky. The air coming into the vent smells of salt spray and eucalyptus, a sharp, clean scent that opens your lungs. You reach over and turn on the radio, turning the dial past the static, until you find a station playing soft jazz, the low notes of a saxophone blending perfectly with the mood of the evening. The music fills the cabin, mixing with the hum of the engine and the sound of the ocean, creating a private sanctuary of sound. You are warm and dry inside your steel bubble, watching the dramatic landscape slide by like a movie. You pass the Bixby Creek, bridge the concrete arch, soaring over the canyon, the structure looking elegant and strong in the twilight. You drive over, feeling the change in the sound of the tires on the bridge deck, a hollow hum that lasts for a few seconds before turning to the solid sound of the road. You continue south as the light fades completely and the night takes over. The reflectors on the road shine like tiny diamonds in your headlights, guiding you forward. You turn inland now, leaving the coast behind and heading towards the deep forests of the redwoods. The road straightens out, and the air changes, losing the saltiness and gaining the rich scent of damp earth and ancient pine needles. You enter the Avenue of the Giants, where the trees rise up hundreds of feet into the air, towering over the road like the pillars of a natural cathedral. The headlights catch the rough texture of the reddish bark of massive trunks, appearing one by one and disappearing into the darkness behind you. It is a tunnel of trees, a dark and silent passage through nature. You feel a sense of awe at the size of these living things, knowing they have stood here for centuries, silent witnesses to the passing of time. The road winds gently through the forest, the car gliding over a carpet of fallen needles that muffles the sound of the world. You roll down the window a crack to let in the forest air, and it is cool and fresh smelling of ferns and moss. You hear the wind sighing the branches high above a soft whispering sound that is the voice of the forest. You feel completely alone, but not lonely. You are accompanied by the trees and the night. You drive on for miles through the woods, the rhythm of the drive settling into your bones. The road begins to climb, rising up out of the forest and into the foothills of the Sierra Nevada mountains. The air gets thinner and crisper, the temperature dropping as you gain altitude. You turn up the heater a notch, feeling the warm air blowing on your feet, keeping you cozy. The landscape changes to granite rocks and pine trees, the road becoming a series of switchbacks that climb the mountain face. You navigate them slowly, the car handling the grade with ease, the engine purring a little louder as it works. You reach the summit of the pass, and the view opens up, revealing a vast valley spread out below you, lit by the moonlight. You can see the distant lights of small towns twinkling like stars falling to earth. You begin the descent, coasting down the other side of gravity, doing the work for you. The car glides down the mountain smooth and controlled. You reach the valley floor, and the road straightens out, becoming a long ribbon of asphalt that stretches across the high desert of Nevada. This is the loneliest road in America, Highway 50, a place of solitude and silence. The landscape is vast and open, covered in sagebrush and scrub stretching to the horizon. The sky is enormous, a giant dome of black velvet studded with millions of stars that look brighter and closer here than anywhere else. You see the Milky Way, clearly a band of diamond dust splashed across the sky. You set the cruise control and relax your foot, letting the car maintain a steady speed. The rhythm of the tires on the desert highway is a high-pitched sing-song hum, a continuous note that never wavers. You watch the white dashed lines of the center divider flashing by, zip, 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 zip. It is a visual mantra that lulls you deeper into relaxation. You pass a lonely gas station in the middle of nowhere, its fluorescent lights humming, buzzing in the silence. A single attendant sits inside, reading a book, surrounded by snacks and soda. You do not stop, you just glide by a phantom in the night, leaving the oasis of light behind. You feel a sense of peace in this vast emptiness, a feeling that your problems are small and insignificant compared to the scale of the desert. You are just a traveler, moving through the space, moving through the night. The road stretches on for hours, mile after mile of straight pavement. You see the silhouette of a coyote trotting through the sagebrush, pausing to watch your headlights pass. You see the eyes of a jackrabbit glowing red in the dark. You are sharing the night with the creatures of the desert. The moon rises over the distant mountain range, a jagged line of black against the deep blue sky. The moonlight illuminates the desert floor, turning the sand and brush into a landscape of silver and gray. It is a stark beauty, a quiet beauty. You feel your eyelids getting heavy, the hypnotic motion of the car, the steady hum of the engine, the endless straight road, all conspiring to put you to sleep. But you are driving, so you stay awake, but only just. You are in a trance, a state of highway hypnosis where you are aware of the road, but your mind is free to wander. You think about nothing and everything, letting thoughts drift through your mind like the tumbleweeds that occasionally blow across the road. You pass through small ghost towns where the buildings are falling down, wood bleached by the sun, and wind standing as monuments to the mining boom of the past. They are silent and empty, sleeping their eternal sleep. You feel a gentle melancholy for the people who lived there, for the lives that were lived in this harsh land. You drive on, leaving the ghost behind. The sky begins to lighten and the east to black, turning to a deep purple, then to a bruised blue. The stars begin to fade one by one, retreating before the coming sun. You watch the sunrise in the rearview mirror, a band of orange and gold that ignites the horizon. The light hits the tops of the mountains, turning them pink and red. It is a spectacular show performed just for you. The sun rises, fully warming the desert, chasing away the chill of the night. You lower the visor to block the glare, continuing your journey east. The landscape begins to change again as you approach Utah. The sagebrush gives way to red rock formations, towers, and buttes that rise up from the desert floor like sculptures made by giants. The rocks are layered in bands of red and orange and white, recording the geological history of the earth. You drive through canyons with towering red walls that block out the sky, winding your way through the stone maze. The sun reflects off the red rock, creating a warm glow that fills the car. You feel like you are driving on Mars, a stranger in a strange land. You pass through Zion, where the cliffs are massive and sheer weeping water from hidden springs. You pass through Bryce Canyon, where the hoodoos stand in silent ranks like an army of stone soldiers. You are overwhelmed by the beauty of the West, by the sheer scale of the landscape. You cross into Colorado, climbing back into mountains. The Rockies rise up before you, a formidable wall of granite and snow. You begin to climb again, the road twisting and turning, gaining elevation with every mile. You pass through aspen forests where the leaves are turning gold, shimmering in the wind like coins. You pass alpine lakes that are turquoise blue, fed by glacial meltwater. You see elk grazing in the meadows, their large antlers velvet in the morning light. You cross the Continental Divide, the backbone of the nation, where the water flows two ways, east of the Atlantic and west of the Pacific. You feel a sense of accomplishment reaching this high point. You descend into plains on the other side, the mountains fading in your rear view mirror. The landscape flattens out, becoming a sea of grass that stretches to the horizon. This is the heartland, the breadbasket of America. You drive through fields of wheat that wave in the wind like a golden ocean. You drive past farmhouses surrounded by windbreaks of trees, safe islands in the sea of grass. You see combines harvesting the grain, moving slowly across the fields, clouds of dust rising behind them. You feel the rhythm of the harvest, the cycle of the seasons. The road is straight again, a grid of section lines that divides the land into perfect squares. You drive for hours, passing through small towns with grain elevators and water towers, the names painted on the sides in bold letters. You stop at a diner in one of these towns for a break. You walk inside, the bell on the door jingling. The air smells of coffee and bacon and maple syrup. You sit at the counter on a vinyl stool, spinning gently. You order a slice of cherry pie and a cup of coffee. You listen to the conversation of the locals talking about the weather and the crops and the high school football team. It is a comforting murmur, the sound of community. You finish your pie and get back in the car, ready to continue your drive. You head south now towards the open plains of Oklahoma and Texas. The sky is huge here, the big sky country where you can see storms brewing miles away. You watch a thunderstorm rolling across the plains, dark clouds piling up, lightning flashing in the distance. You drive through the edge of the storm, the rain drumming on the roof of the car, a loud, sudden downpour that washes the dust away. Then you are through it, and the sun comes out again, shining on the wet road, creating a mirror that reflects the sky. You see a rainbow arching across the plain, a perfect semicircle of color. You drive under the rainbow, chasing the pot of gold. You cross the Red River into Texas, where everything is bigger. The ranches are vast, spread out over miles of scrub and mesquite. You see herds of longhorn cattle resting in the shade of the trees. You see oil wells pumping slowly up and down like giant metal grasshoppers drinking from the earth. The road goes on forever, a straight line through the brush. You drive into the hill country where the land rolls gently, covered in wildflowers, bluebonnets, and Indian paintbrushes. It is a soft landscape, a beautiful landscape. You arrive in Austin as the sun is setting, the city lights coming on, reflecting in the Colorado River. You drive through the streets, listening to the music pouring out of the clubs. You are just passing through, a traveler on the way to somewhere else. You head east toward the bayous of Louisiana. The air gets thick and humid again, the smell of the swamp returning. You drive over long causeways that span the swamps, the road floating on concrete pillars above the water. You see the cypress trees standing in the black water, their knees poking up through the surface. You see egrets fishing the shallows, white ghosts in the dark. You are back in the deep south, back in the land of water and mystery. You drive until you reach the coast of the Gulf of Mexico, where the journey ends. You park the car on the sand facing the ocean. You turn off the engine and the sudden silence is loud, ringing in your ears. You open the door and step out, stretching your stiff legs. You smell the salt air, hear the waves crashing gently on the beach. You walk down the water's edge and let the foam wash over your feet. You have driven across the west, seen the mountains and the deserts and the plains. You have traveled thousands of miles sitting still. You are tired, a deep, satisfying tiredness. You walk back to the car and climb into the back seat, where you have made a bed. You lie down, curling up under a blanket. You listen to the sound of the ocean, the eternal rhythm of the tides. You close your eyes and let the road replay in your mind, the winding coast, the tall redwoods, the lonely desert highway, the red rocks, the high mountains, the golden plains. It is a tapestry of images, a movie of the mind. You drift away into sleep, carried by the memory of the road, carried by the peace of the journey. The car is your cradle, the ocean is your lullaby, the night is your blanket. You sleep deeply, dreamlessly resting for the next adventure. The sun rises over the Gulf, painting the water in shades of pink and orange, but you sleep on, safe and warm. The seagulls cry overhead, wheeling in the morning air, but you do not hear them. You are deep in a land of Nod, far away from the road, far away from the world. You are at peace. You are at rest. The world turns slowly on its axis, carrying you with it. The waves lap at the shore. The wind whispers in the grass. The car sits silent on the sand, a metal shell protecting its sleeping passenger. Time stands still for a while, allowing you to catch up, allowing you to heal. You breathe in slowly, deeply, tasting the salt air even in your sleep. You breathe out, releasing the miles, releasing the hours. You are still. You are quiet. You are home. The journey shifts now from the solid ground and the flowing water to the boundless sky, as you find yourself seated in the most comfortable leather armchair inside the cabin of a majestic vintage airship, a dirigible floating silently above the clouds. It is night, a deep velvet night, where the moon is huge and silvery, illuminating the cloud tops below, which look like a rolling landscape of snow dunes stretching out to infinity. The interior of the gondola is warm and dimly lit by brass lanterns that cast a soft golden glow on the polished mahogany walls and the velvet curtains. You are alone in this luxurious observation lounge, surrounded by large curved windows that offer a panoramic view of the heavens. The only sound is the faint hum of the engines far behind you, a low vibration that feels more like a purr than a noise, a gentle resonance that travels to the floor and up into the soles of your feet, soothing your tired muscles. You are floating thousands of feet above the earth, detached from gravity, detached from the world below. You feel lighter here, as if the helium that lifts the ship has also lifted the weight from your shoulders. You sink deeper into the leather chair, which creaks softly as it adjusts to your form, holding you in a soft embrace. You pick up a cup of warm tea from the small table beside you, feeling the heat radiate into your palms. You take a sip, and it is chamomile and honey, a sweet floral taste that warms you from the inside out. You look out the window, watching the clouds drift by below, slow and majestic. They are moving rivers of vapor, white and gray and silver, constantly changing shape, but never in a hurry. You see a break in the clouds, a hole in the floor of the sky, revealing the dark earth far below. You see a cluster of lights, a tiny golden spiderweb that is a city at night. You watch the tiny cars moving along the highways like fireflies following invisible lines. You see the flashing strobe of an airport beacon, a rhythmic pulse of white and green. Then the clouds close up again, sealing the view, and you are back in your private world of the sky. You feel a sense of peace knowing that you are above it, all above the traffic, above the noise, above the rush. You are in the domain of the birds and the wind. The airship moves with slow, deliberate grace, swimming through the air like a whale through the ocean. You feel a gentle sway, a slow rocking motion that is incredibly relaxing. Sway, 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 sway. It is the motion of the air, current a gentle hand, rocking you to sleep. You close your eyes for a moment, listening to the silence. It is a thick silence, a heavy silence, a silence that you can almost touch. You open your eyes again and look up at the stars. They are brighter here above the atmosphere, shining with a fierce cold light. You see the constellations, Orion the Hunter with his belt of 3 stars, Cassiopeia, the Queen in her W-shaped chair, the Big Dipper pointing the way north. You trace the lines between the stars, connecting the dots, drawing pictures in the sky. You feel a connection to the ancient mariners who used these same stars to navigate the oceans. You are navigating the ocean of air, a pioneer of the clouds. The airship enters a stream of moonlight to silver light, flooding the cabin, turning everything to monochrome. You watch the dust motes dancing in the beams, swirling in the slow currents of air. They are tiny universes floating in the void. You feel your eyelids getting heavy, the gentle motion, the soft light, the warmth of the tea, all conspiring to lull you into a state of deep relaxation. You put the cup down on the table, the china making a soft clink against the wood. You pull a soft cashmere blanket over your legs, tucking it in around your sides. The fabric is soft and warm against your skin. You rest your head back against the wing of the chair, your neck muscles releasing their tension. You let your jaw go slack. You let your shoulders drop. You are melting into the chair, melting into the ship, melting into the sky. You drift in and out of the light, those catching snippets of dreams that mix with the reality of the flight. You dream you are flying on the back of a giant owl, silent and swift. You dream you are a cloud floating aimlessly in the blue. You wake gently as the ship changes course, banking slowly to the left. You feel the shift in gravity, a subtle pressure that pushes you deeper into the cushion. You look out and see a range of mountains rising up from the clouds, their snow-capped peaks glowing in the moonlight. They look like islands in the sea, of white, jagged, and wild. You are flying over the Rockies, crossing the spine of the continent again, but this time from above. You see the shadows of the peaks stretching out across the clouds, long, dark fingers reaching for the ship. You pass over a high alpine lake, its water black, and still reflecting the moon like a mirror. You imagine the coldness of that water, the silence of that high place. You feel safe and warm in your floating palace, protected from the cold and the wind. The airship levels out again, resuming its steady course. The hum of the engines drops to a lower pitch, a deep thrumming that vibrates in your chest. Thrum, thrum, thrum. It is a comforting sound, a sound of power held in reserve. You watch the moon slowly traverse the sky, moving from the east to the west, marking the passage of time. But time has no meaning here. There is no schedule. There is no arrival time. There is only the flight. The journey is the destination. You are traveling through the night, through the quiet, through the peace. You feel a profound sense of gratitude for this experience, for this moment of suspension. You are suspended between the earth and the stars, suspended between yesterday and tomorrow. You are in the now, and the now is perfect. The clouds begin to thin out below, revealing the vast expanse of the Great Plains. You see the grid of the farmland stretching out in all directions, squares of black and gray. You see the tiny lights of lonely farmhouses scattered like diamonds on black velvet. You wonder about the lives of the people down there sleeping in their beds, unaware of the giant ship floating silently above them. You send them peaceful thoughts, wishing them good rest. The airship passes through a wisp of cloud to white, vapor swirling past the windows like smoke. For a moment you are inside the cloud, surrounded by whiteness, unable to see anything. It is a cozy feeling, a feeling of being wrapped in cotton wool. Then you emerge into the clear air again, the stars popping back into view brighter than before. You see a shooting star scratch a line of fire across the sky, burning up in an instant. You make a wish. You wish for peace. You wish for sleep. You wish for this feeling to last forever. Your breathing is slow and deep, matching the slow rhythm of the ship. In, out, in, out. You are breathing the rarefied air of the upper atmosphere, clean and pure. It fills your lungs with oxygen, clears your mind of fog. You feel clarity. You feel stillness. You feel rest. The night wears on the moon, sinking low in the sky, turning a deep orange as it nears the horizon. The light in the cabin changes, shifting from silver to amber. The shadows lengthen, stretching across the floor. You are drifting deeper into sleep, now the boundary between the world and the dream blurring. You are floating. You are flying. You are sleeping. The airship carries you on across the sleeping continent, a silent guardian in the night. You are safe. You are warm. You are loved. The sun begins to hint at its arrival in the east, a faint lightening of the horizon, a turning from black to indigo. You watch the colors change, the slow dawn of a new day. But you do not wake up. You stay in the twilight state, holding on to the peace of the night. You let the ship carry you into the morning, into the light. You are at peace. You are at rest. You are asleep. The airship begins its slow and gentle descent, dropping imperceptibly toward a hidden valley nestled deep within the high mountains, where the snow lies deep and white and undisturbed, covering the world in a pristine blanket of silence. You feel the subtle shift in pressure as the earth rises to meet you, the engines falling completely silent as the great ship drifts down like a feather settling onto a cushion of air. The landing is soft, a mere kiss of the gondola against the snow, and you know, without being told, that the journey has reached its end. You are home. You wrap your thick wool blanket around your shoulders and step out of the ship into the crisp, cold air that bites gently at your cheeks but makes you feel alive and grounded. You walk down a path clear to the snow, the walls of white, rising up to your waist, glittering like diamond dust in the moonlight. Ahead of you is a large log cabin glowing with warm smoke curling lazily from its stone chimney, rising straight up into still night air promising comfort and deep rest. You open a heavy wooden door and step inside, leaving the cold night and the vast sky behind you. The air inside is thick with heat and smells of cedar wood and pine sap and wood smoke, a rich earthy scent that instantly relaxes your muscles. A fire is crackling in a large stone hearth, the flames dancing in orange and yellow rhythms, casting long shadows that flicker softly on the log walls. You take off your heavy coat and boots, placing them by the door, feeling the weight leave your body, feeling your feet connect with the thick, soft rug that covers the floor. You walk over to a large, overstuffed armchair by the fire and sink into it, the leather cushions sighing as they swallow you up, holding you in a soft embrace. You watch the fire burn, listening to the pops and hisses of the wood, the only sounds in the silent cabin. Pop, hiss, crackle, pop. It is a primal sound, a sound of safety that goes back to the beginning of time, a sound that tells you everything is well. You feel the heat radiating from the hearth, warming your face, warming your hands, warming your toes, chasing away the chill of the high altitude. You are completely safe here, completely isolated from the world, completely at peace. The cabin is your fortress against the night, against the cold, against the noise. You look around the room, seeing the shelves lined with old books, their spines gleaming in the firelight, waiting to be read, but not tonight. You see the heavy velvet curtains drawn tight against the windows, shutting out the stars, shutting out the view, shutting out the need to see anything else. Everything here is designed for comfort, designed for quiet, designed for you. You feel a heavy wave of exhaustion washing over you, a good tiredness that comes from a long journey, a bone-deep weariness that demands to be satisfied. You know it is time to sleep, time to give in to the heaviness, time to let go. You stand up slowly, moving like a diver, underwater, your limbs feeling heavy and loose, and walk to the bedroom at the back of the cabin. The room is cool and dark, illuminated only by the faint glow of the fire from the other room. The bed is huge, a mountain of soft white duvets and fluffy pillows waiting just for you. You climb and pull in the covers up to your chin, burying yourself in the softness. The sheets are cool against your skin, but the duvet is warm and heavy, settling over you like a protective shell. You feel the weight of the covers pressing down on you, grounding you, holding you still. You close your eyes and the darkness is total and comforting, a velvet void that wraps around your mind. You listen to the silence of the snow outside, a heavy blanket that dampens all sound, creating a vacuum of quiet. You listen to the faint crackle of the fire in the other room, a distant rhythm. You listen to your own breathing, slow and deep and steady. In, out, in, out. You retrace the journey in your mind one last time, watching the images float by like clouds. You feel the gentle rocking of the boat on the Mississippi River, drifting with the current. You feel the steady vibration of the car on the desert highway, driving through the night. You feel the floating sensation of the airship high above the clouds. All the motion, all the miles, all the sights blend together into a single feeling of peace, a single feeling of completion. You are no longer moving. You are still. You are anchored. You are safe. You feel your toes relaxing, letting go of the last bit of tension, wiggling once and then stopping. You feel your feet relaxing, becoming heavy and warm blocks of lead at the end of the bed. You feel your calves relaxing, sinking deeper into the mattress. You feel your knees relaxing, your thighs relaxing, your hips relaxing. Your lower body is heavy like stone rooted to the bed. You feel your stomach relaxing, your chest rising and falling slowly with each breath. You feel your back relaxing, every vertebra loosening and letting go, sinking into the softness. You feel your shoulders dropping down away from your ears, releasing the weight of the world. You feel your arms becoming heavier hands, uncurling your fingers, going limp and still. You feel your neck relaxing your jaw, loosening your tongue, resting gently on the roof of your mouth. You feel your face relaxing, the tiny muscles around your eyes, smoothing out your forehead, becoming cool and smooth. You are a statue of peace. You are a vessel of silence. There is nothing left to do. There is nothing left to think. There is only the dark. There is only the warm. There is only the sleep. You drift down, down, down into the deepest level of rest where dreams are slow and gentle. The world fades away completely. The cabin fades away completely. You are just being. You are just existing. You are asleep, deeply asleep. Good night.